All right, so Monday, Jim Caldwell had an interview with the Houston Texans. Obviously, in October, the Houston Texans ended up firing Bill O'Brien, their former head coach. And currently, right now, the Houston Texans have Romeo Cornell as the interim head coach.
Oh, 1 second too. I want to add in there that Marvin Lewis is getting some attention now too. That was just
I was just about to get to that because Havoc brought that to my attention before we went live.
mhm.
So I'm me personally, because the Houston Texans ended up firing their head coach and the general manager. I think it's a front. They just trying to get their Rooney Rule candidates out the way, and then they're going to end up coming down to just hiring a coach.
Adam Gase.
End up hiring Jeff Fisher somewhere.
Look, man, I mean I love this. Number one, because you see retread coaches in the league, but you never see black coaches get the opportunity to be retreads. Like I think pretty much we're all pretty much set on the fact that Lovie Smith probably won't be a head coach in the league again. For what reasons, I'm not sure. I didn't think Jim Caldwell would be a head coach again. Now, if you look at his resume, he's the only person that went to Detroit and actually did something there.
Yep.
You look at Marvin Lewis. How long was he at Cincinnati for? And these dudes are out here. They basically got to beg for jobs, right? So
He
for
had
me,
success with Cincinnati.
bro, he was there for like a decade. You know what I'm saying? Like, now, I mean, he's a little bit loose with the rules, but every coach's got
Loose with the rules.
a little bit loose with the rules.
Are we
you know?
really going to go on the topic of loose with the rules?
A touch. Well, I'm saying when you have the guys that those good Bengals teams had, well, quite honestly, there's not much you could do, right? There's not much you could do. You can't tell Pac-Man Jones what to do in his free time. But I will say I do like the idea of guys like Jim Caldwell, guys like Marvin Lewis, maybe a guy like Lovie Smith getting another shot. Because we keep seeing, every time I look up, Jack Del Rio's got a job somewhere doing something. So why can't Marvin Lewis be in that same cycle? Why can't Jim Caldwell be in that same cycle? That's all I'm saying.
It comes down to that conversation we had before about it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they all track in the same circles.
Even Hugh Jackson, So
Yeah, I feel bad for Hugh. I feel like some of the situations Hugh's been in have not been very good with the Oakland Raiders and the Cleveland Browns.
yeah. Well, he was an emergency coach with Oakland, right?
I think he actually got hired for
Okay.
2 years. Right, Banks? He got hired, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shake,
Hey.
did you want to add anything, man?
Yeah, I think Jim Caldwell, especially when you have a young quarterback, to help develop a young quarterback like Deshaun Watson, I think Jim Caldwell will be a great mentor towards a young quarterback like that. He helped Peyton Manning's career, and he was good when he Joe Flacco had his best year when he was with Jim Caldwell. So a lot of
And
people
yeah, he
don't
has
realize.
Jim Caldwell's a good offensive coach too.
Jim Caldwell's been
Yeah,
good everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So I hope, and last year, one of the things that made me the happiest is when we signed him. I'm like, okay, we got somebody that's going to teach whatever quarterback that we have the ropes. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, he had some health issues, and that kind of bummed me out a little bit.
Hmm.
I think, to me, my personal opinion, I think Jim Caldwell would have been a better teacher to Tua than Chan Gailey. But that's just me.
I think he was brought in more to tutor Brian Flores
Mm-hmm.
than the quarterback, to be honest. But I think,
Well, he was associate head coach when they brought him in, right?
yeah, he was assistant head coach. But I
Yeah.
think Jim Caldwell would have been that little bird on Chad O'Shea's shoulder with those issues. But
Yeah.
but we getting off topic.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
We get into Miami history.
Yeah, we be playing the fly on the wall right now. But go ahead, Banks.
I mean, it's Jim Caldwell, man. Like I was saying, man. I think if anybody deserves a shot to be back, coaching the league, Jim Caldwell definitely deserves it. The way that the Detroit Lions went about their business to bring in Matt Patricia, and that was a fail. And they haven't been relevant since Jim Caldwell. You bring up some good points with Jim Caldwell working with Peyton Manning. The guy just seems to be, it just seems to be right there. You know what I mean? He had some situations, being close to being to the Super Bowl once. So, the guy knows what he's doing. I mean, and I agree with Shake's point about, him working with a young guy like Deshaun Watson, who when I watched Deshaun Watson play, even though he doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins anymore, you can tell there's some mechanics there he needs to work on. Mm-hmm. He needs a little bit more weapons around him or whatever. He's just relying solely on his athleticism to get him by for the most part, because he's just so talented. He's so special. And I feel like he needs the right support system in play for us to see him, because he's an MVP candidate every year, regardless of what people think or not. He can be an MVP in this league. He can definitely be an MVP.
I 100% agree with that.
But we need him to see him with the right structure. We need somebody to see. And Jim Caldwell doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's just going to sit back and just let him fail. I feel like he's going to hold him accountable as well in the film room and stuff like that. He's going to call him out, not publicly, but he's going to direct them. Like, hey, yo, look, you mess up here. Here's how you improve. This is what I can do for you. So I hope the Texans pull the trick on it. It'll actually be their first black head coach in that franchise, too. Well, actually, no. I think Romeo Crennel was coach.
Yeah, Romeo Crennel was the head coach.
Yeah. So my apologies to the Texans for that. But yeah, I think that'd be a good idea for him.
And I think a side note, and I would not be surprised, and I'm gonna just call it right now. Look for the Houston Texans to copy the Miami Dolphin playbook. But bring in a front office guy and a head coach that already have an established relationship, and you just give them the keys, and you just back away. That's all I'm saying.
You really ain't got really much to work with as far as the Houston Texans for 2020. You look at, they don't have a first round pick
or second.
So,
oof.
Like,
but they got Laramie Tunsil. Who's a Pro Bowler.
They got Laramie Tunsil, and they definitely got some holes to fill as far as, JJ Watt ain't getting any younger. Why I keep messing his name up? Marcellus. Is it Marcellus? Marcellus Merciless. Whitney Marcellus. My fault. Whitney Marcellus. He's not getting any younger. The defensive back position, they got some holes there.
They got nothing there. They got nothing.
Really, like, whoever takes this head coaching job, I think you got to be patient. You really got to be patient, because you really ain't given really much to work with as far as year one is concerned. But they got the groundwork. You got your franchise quarterback in Deshaun
right,
Watson.
And that's the most important part. The most important part is you have what you're going to work with in the future with your quarterback position. Yeah, Deshaun Watson ain't going nowhere for the next 6 years, because he just got a deal out of this world too. So he's not going nowhere. So I feel like a decision is going to have to be made when it comes down to J.J. Watt, though. I think they're going to have to make a tough decision with that. Do we keep him around because he is Mr. Houston Texan, or do we do what we need to do to kind of win, to make some moves? That's going to be a tough decision, because the city of Houston loves J.J. Watt like New Orleans loves Drew Brees. So I don't know. There's already been a lot of questionable decision making in that city anyway with Bill O'Brien. So hey, do you really see J.J. Watt being another jersey outside of the Houston Texans? Maybe.
Hey man, how many great players done put on a different jersey at the end of their career?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It really depends on what his cap hit is going to be for 2021.
I mean, it's ridiculous. He's still surviving off that $200-something million contract he got when he became the highest paid player in the damn league or something like that.
Yeah, but you gotta think about it. When you bring in a new head coach and also a new general manager, which they still have an interview for a new general manager, which kind of doesn't make sense why they did head coach before general manager.
Mm-hmm.
They want to bring in their own guys. They want to implement their own system and scheme. So if that general manager and head coach are not on the same page with keeping JJ Watt,
it's a whole lot of 9-7 and 7-9.
And that cap
right.
is friendly to the franchise. I could see the Houston Texans.
Well, they're not in a cap slump. Like they have some capital because they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins, which was a pretty big deal. And no, they weren't paying him.
Picked up a bad contract too.
Yeah, but it's a contract that you can move on from. You can move on from David Johnson's contract. They can cut him and just move on from that. I mean, can we just deal with the fact that he's done? Like, let's just deal with the fact that he was done. He
had like two good seasons, and
yeah, he's done.
We can call it a day.
David Johnson's been done. He's been done for a minute now.